أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وكل من والاه. I welcome each and every one of us to today's edition of our weekly program Islam and I on King Media, owned by National Elefati Society, Nasfat. Of course, we know it's a weekly tonic, it's a weekly program that is built to enlighten and educate each and every one of us out there. It is important to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Try and do that so that you'd, of course, get up-to-date information about Islam and what are the tenets of Islam. Today, we shall be looking at a very fundamental topic in Islam, and that is Fadlul Ilmi. What are the benefits of knowledge? Why do we have to be knowledgeable? Why do we have to seek knowledge? Why education? These are the concepts that we'll be looking at one after the other, inshallah. Let's start from the Almighty Allah. What did He say as regards seeking for knowledge? Did we have any reference from the Holy Quran where Allah has enjoined us to seek for knowledge? Of course, we see that in Surah Al-Mujadala. Surah Al-Mujadala is Quran chapter 58, verse 11. Allah was describing some set of people, and towards the end of that verse, it says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Yarfa'u Allahu alladhina amanu minkum walladhina utul ilm darajatin Wallahu bima ta'amaluna khabirun. Allah says, Yarfa'u Allahu alladhina amanu. He says, He has promised to uplift those that believe in Almighty Allah. Allah has promised to uplift you, to raise you above others. And also those that are knowledgeable. He has promised to increase, to raise your degrees. Of course, what He wants there is that apart from believing in Allah, you have to also seek for knowledge. You cannot do anything in Islam without being knowledgeable. You cannot do anything in Islam without knowledge of Islam. Of course, the popular hadith that is in Hadith al-Qudusi says, Allah Himself says, Fa'arifuni qabla an ta'budun. Seek to know me before you begin to worship me. Which means, as Muslims, as believers, if we want to worship Allah without knowledge, of course, it's tantamount to a waste of time. The first Muslim is that we should seek to know Allah. We should seek to be knowledgeable. It's not only the knowledge of Allah alone, not only the knowledge of the hereafter. Of course, the worldly knowledge too are also very important. It would interest you to know that the very first verse that Allah revealed for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a verse that was compelling him to seek to be knowledgeable, was him to seek education. And that's where Allah says, Ikra allazi khalaqa. Read in the name of your Lord that created. Khalaqal insana min halaqin. Ikra wa rabbuka al-akram allazi allama bil qalam. Allama al-insana ya'lam. It is very important to know that these are the 5 verses revealed unto the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And these 5 verses are verses that are related to education. To be educated, we have to know that Allah Himself wants us to be educated, to be knowledgeable, because being knowledgeable would guarantee us some things. Number one, it sharpens our skills of reasoning. The way an illiterate will reason is different from the way it will reason, are determined by the level of knowledge we have. Whoever as being able to get knowledge. Of course, you cannot get the entire knowledge in the universe, but you can just get a bit of it. You can only get a part of it. You'll be able to get would aid you in reasoning analytically. You'll be able to dissect issues before giving responses. Allah says in the Holy Quran as well, in Surah Al-Sumar, that is verse 9. It says, towards the end of the verse, Allah is comparing the knowledgeable ones and those that are not knowledgeable, the literate and the illiterate. Allah says, can you compare the both of them? What he is saying here is that the way each and every one of them, the way the both of them would present matters, present issues, would depend on the kind of knowledge they have garnered. And that's why knowledge would enable us to be critical towards problem solving. If you are faced with a particular problem or challenge, the way and manner with which you would approach that challenge or problem will be determined by the level of knowledge you have. Compare someone with just the Western knowledge with someone with Western and Islamic knowledge. Of course, the way of reasoning of the man that has the Islamic and Western knowledge will not be the same way the man with just the Western knowledge will reason. So also someone with just Islamic knowledge without the Western knowledge. Someone with just Islamic knowledge without the Western knowledge. The way he will reason, of course, would be narrowed towards the level of his education. So that's why we should know that Allah himself compelled us to seek for knowledge. In fact, the Holy Prophet Muhammad was reported to have instructed his companions one day when he said, "Utlubul ilma wala bisin." Go and seek for knowledge. Go and seek to be educated. Go and seek to be knowledgeable, even if it is in the farthest part of the world. Then the farthest part of the world was China. And that's why the Prophet said, seek to be knowledgeable, even if it is in the farthest part of China. So today, we cannot say China is the farthest part, but what the Prophet is trying to say there is that go as much length as you can to get education. The quality of books you read, the quality of knowledge you have, the quality of lecturers or tutors that you are exposed to will determine your level of understanding of issues around you, your level of presentation of issues, of presentation of matters around you. It will also help you in your judgment of any issue that is put before you. If you are to adjudicate on a particular issue, there are two issues before you. The reason Prophet Sulaiman والسلام, was able to adjudicate justly between the two that were fighting for a particular child was because Prophet Sulaiman had knowledge. So knowledge would help you in judging matters, in presentation of your judgment. Knowledge would assist you. Meanwhile, your knowledge does not know your gender. Does not know maybe you're a male or a female. The Prophet was reported to have said in one of his hadiths that talabul ilm faridatun ala kulli muslimin wa muslimatin. It is important to note that the Prophet said seeking for knowledge is compulsory, faridatun, compulsory for Muslims, both males and females. So it does not know your gender, does not know if you are a woman or a man. It is important that all of us get to be knowledgeable. That would help us, of course, in this world and the hereafter. I would still explain the way it would help us in the hereafter before the completion of this topic, inshallah. Knowledge is not hereditary. Let's note that. Because your dad is a professor or your dad is a PhD holder does not mean that automatically you also be knowledgeable. No, you have to go out there and seek to be knowledgeable just as your parents. Because my parents are Islamic scholars does not guarantee that I would also be an Islamic scholar, or let me put it this way, does not say automatically you will be an Islamic scholar. If you want to know it, you have to go and seek to know it. So that's the reason why it is often said that knowledge is not hereditary. You have to also go out there and seek to be knowledgeable. Knowledge helps us convert our ideas into reality. If you have an idea, there are lots of ideas that are now in the grave. There are lots of ideas that are now under the... There are people under the soil that are there with their ideas. They are dead. That is because they were unable to convert their ideas to reality. Perhaps because they were not exposed to enough education or to enough knowledge. Education would guarantee our exposure, because the people with which you mix with will be people that are of your caliber or your status. Perhaps if they are not more than you, you will be of almost the same status in education. So that is why you need to know that with knowledge, with adequate education, you'll be able to convert your ideas to reality. In the hereafter, knowledge will assist us. How? That is because we have been told, according to one of the hadiths by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the best thing a man can leave behind is knowledge, which is acted upon after his death. That can be corroborated with one of the hadiths of the Prophet, where he says, "Is a mortal insan, when someone dies, there will be just three things left. One of such is one of such is a child that such person left behind before his death. That child, once he prays for his late parent, of course, that will be beneficial for him. Number two is sadaqatun jariyah. That is the charity that he has done. Perhaps he has planted a tree, perhaps he has done some things for people. Those charitable things he has done before his death would assist him, of course, after his death. Then the third one is ilmun yuntafa'u bihi. That is the knowledge he has been able to get for himself. And then after getting this knowledge, after being knowledgeable, he was able to transfer that knowledge to some people. So kudos to our teachers that are, of course, giving people the opportunity to be knowledgeable through them. So today, we have been able to look at the benefits of knowledge. We have looked at the Quranic references, we have looked at some hadiths of the Prophet, and then I've been able to explain to us the benefits that we can get when we are knowledgeable in this world, and then I've been able to link it up with our hereafter. Once again, this is our weekly program, Islam and I, coming to you courtesy King Media, owned by National Al-Fatih Society, Nasfat. Let me remind you that it is important for you to subscribe and also inform your loved ones to also subscribe on this medium, inshallah. May Almighty Allah continue to be with us. May Almighty Allah accept our prayer. May Almighty Allah grant us our desires. Birahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. I remain your brother in Islam, Malam AbdulGafar Adeleye. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.